way down to New Vrindaban shortly after that, and has been here ever since.
I came to New Vrindaban in 1972, actually, with the Chicago devotees. I hadn't joined yet, but they invited me to come down, and I had an opportunity to see Prabhupada at that time. I originally saw him in 1971, but upon seeing Prabhupada, I could kind of understand certain things. When I first came, the devotees asked me to straighten up the house that Prabhupada was going to be staying in. I was there, a few other guests, and after a while, then the cars pulled up, Prabhupada and so many sannyasis and the leaders of New Vrindaban, and then they all went into a side door. Right inside that side door, that's where Prabhupada sat down and they started to talk. And very often I tell people about some of the things that Prabhupada said, but we were hovering, myself and a few other visitors who had been assigned to straighten up around the house, we were hovering by the door, trying to hear what Prabhupada was saying. Nobody invited us in. Who do you think invited us in? Prabhupada. He saw us hovering by the door. And so I think one very important point that's made here is Prabhupada wants to be inclusive, not exclusive. He wants to bring as many people as possible into devotional service. And so at that time Prabhupada was talking about New Vrindaban, and that New Vrindavan was non-different than Vrindavan in India. And he said that anyone who comes to New Vrindavan gets the same blessing as going all the way to Vrindavan in India. And so that was, I was here for 3 or 4 days during the Janmashtami. Of course, there's that famous event where Prabhupada was asking to be read from the Krishna book, and like Raghu was explaining, everybody was falling asleep. The temple room itself was a small temple room, but it was jam-packed. Every inch of space was occupied. I was in the hallway, I was crammed in the hallway, and everyone was falling asleep. One thing I saw that Prabhupada, he was very playful. He always liked to kind of engage to the devotees in different ways and show how far from Krishna consciousness they were. The next day, up at the pavilion, Prabhupada was, there was the Vyasa Puja offering that was being made at that time. And afterwards there was some question and answer period. And one devotee asked Prabhupada, he wanted Prabhupada to compare himself to Jesus Christ. He says, what is your role, or how do you compare yourself to Jesus Christ? And so Prabhupada said that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, and I am the dog of God. And so even years later, when I finally moved here in 1976, I was able to go on a walk with Srila Prabhupada. So the temple authorities, they were very good about that. Usually in many temples, only the big shots had a chance to spend some quality time with Prabhupada. But here the temple authorities made sure that everyone had a chance to spend some quality time with Prabhupada and also go on a walk. So that morning, Prabhupada wasn't feeling so well. He was very quiet. Very often, when we hear Prabhupada's morning walks, he's so animate and answering questions, but he was very quiet. One devotee, because he was not feeling so well, but one devotee, he had a bold question. He said, how many pure devotees are there, Srila Prabhupada? Prabhupada kind of ignored the question. And at the end of the talk, at the end of the walk, then just as he was about to get in his car, there was no conversation. Once again, this devotee, he was really very bold. Just as he was getting into the car, Prabhupada, the devotee asked once again, how many pure devotees are there in this world? And so Prabhupada turned around. He was just about to get into the car, but then he thought, let me answer. And as he was turning around, he waved his hand. It was very majestic. He said, all pure devotees. So this is, again, the humility of a Mahabhagavat, that they see everyone as a pure devotee. And just one last little story. Actually, this is a story that Varshana Maharaj tells, because there was a meeting, a darshan with some of the, who was that? Was it the plow department that had a meeting with Prabhupada? Yeah, it was a darshan at the house that he stayed in 1976. And so again, Prabhupada wasn't feeling so well. And the devotees came to the front door, and Hari Sari told them, regretfully, that Prabhupada's not feeling so well. It's not a good time to have a darshan. And so they were leaving. And Prabhupada was looking from the window. And he told Hari Sari, bring them back. And so this is the mood of Srila Prabhupada. This is how, just in such a short time, he was able to inspire a worldwide movement. It's phenomenal that he came with nothing, and within just a few years, there was New Vrindaban and so many other temples. And so we can understand that even though Prabhupada was organizing a worldwide movement, he was attentive to the details of seeing the devotees and caring for the devotees and making sure that their answers were, their questions were answered and properly addressed. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much.
Srila Prabhupada ki. Kids are going to make their offering now?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let me turn the microphone on.
Line up to offer your obeisance.
So turn the microphone on.
I will. Right, line up to offer your obeisance.
Steady.